Okay, so this video is to help with the self-check 3.14, the parameter mystery return problem from Practice It. And I just copied and pasted this the problem over from the Practice It website into Smart Notebook so I can write on it and we can talk through it together and code trace. So when we look at the top here, our class declaration is mystery return. Here's our main method where our variables x, y, and z have been initially assigned the values 1, 2, and 3 consecutively. Then the first thing that happens is the z, which is currently 3, is going to get reassigned a new value, and that value comes from calling the mystery method and passing it parameters x, z, and y in this order. So when I pass these parameters, x's current value is 1, z's current value is 3, and y's current value is 2. Now the order that those get passed matters. So this x, because its value is 1, its 1 is being passed and stored now in the parameter here for z. So in the mystery method, the z is equal to 1 because that's the first position in the parameters being passed. Okay, 3 is the second position, so that 3 now gets stored as x only in this method, right? This integer x has absolutely nothing to do with the variables that are up here in our main method. This is a totally separate method. Okay, then the third position, the parameter being passed is a 2. That's getting stored in this mystery method as y. Okay, so going into this mystery method, we now have z equal to 1, x equal to 3, and y equal to 2. And again, this has nothing to do with these variables x, y, and z in the main method. So the first thing that happens when this method is called, after we receive those parameters, it's going to decrement the z value, right? So this z at the end of that statement is no longer 1, now z is equal to 0. Okay, then in the next line, the value of x inside this method is reassigned with the value of 2 times y. Y is equal to 2, so 2 times 2 is 4, plus the current value of z, which is 0, and 4 plus 0 is 4. So that is my new value of x. Okay, now my new value of y in the third statement is going to be x minus 1. X currently has a value of 4. I subtract 1, and my new value for y is 3. Okay, now I have a system out print line, and that's going to output to the console the current value of y in this mystery method, which is 3. So it's going to output a 3 to the console. Then I have concatenation occurring with a string, and that string is just a space. So now I have a space in my output followed by the value of z, which is 0. So my output will be 3 space 0. Now it's going to, in the last step of this mystery method, return the value of x. Inside that method, the value of x is currently 4. Right? So that's what gets returned. So I'm going to take this 4 and return it back to my line where the method was called, and that return, that 4, is getting assigned to the variable z in the main method. So now z is no longer 3, z is now equal to 4. Okay, now I'm going to clean up this tracing that I did in the mystery method, because in the next line it's going to print the current value of x, which this is now inside the main method. So I'm outputting the value of x, which has been stored up here as a 1. So a 1 gets output to the console. Then I concatenate a space followed by the value of y, and that y value is currently a 2. I concatenate on another space, up here, and I output a z, and the value of z is currently 4. So it's going to output 1 space 2 space 4. And that takes care of this line and this line. Okay, now the next line is going to be another method call. So we're going to call the mystery method, and it's going to take our current value of z, which is 4, and pass that to the first position in the parameter. So now this is a 4. Okay, then it's going to take the current value of z, which is still 4, and pass it down into the second position. So it gets stored now as x in my mystery method. And then the current value of x, which in the main method is a 1, and it passes that 1 into the third position, which assigns it in the mystery method to the variable y. So now I'm going to repeat that cycle as I go through the steps of this method, where first thing I do is I decrement the z. So 4 goes down by 1 and gets stored as 3. Now in my next line of the method, x gets reassigned with the value of 2 times y. Y is 1, so 2 times 1 is 2, plus z, which is 3, gives me a total of 5. And that gets stored as my x. And then in the next line of the mystery method, I have x minus 1, which would be 5 minus 1, which is 4. That replaces the value of the y. So now my y is 4. Then I system out print line the value of the y, which is currently a 4, concatenate on a space, and then the value of the z, which is a 3. So I've got 4 space 3. Then it's going to return the value of x from this method, and the current value of x is 5. So I take that 5 and I carry it back up here to the method call, and now this x is receiving that value that we just passed to it of 5. So x is no longer 1. Now x is equal to 5. Okay. Then I read my next statement, which is system out print line, and I'm going to output x space y space z. So my x is a 5, my y is a 2, and my z is a 4. Okay. And that would be up to this point. So go ahead and follow that pattern, code tracing. See if you can work out what's going to be our next 2 lines of output as we first call this method again using parameters y, and z. We're passing those values into the first, second, and third positions in the variables in the mystery method, and then we're going to process those, return or output some data, return the value of x back to the console, and then do that last print statement.